Hi, welcome to Shanti Bloom. For those of you who have been watching my videos, you must have heard me say it time and time again that I am on a growth journey. And it is my deepest desire to bring as many people as possible along with me on this journey. And that is why every week I share with you applicable principles and the simple practical steps that I have taken and I am still taking that I see pushing me forward on this growth journey. So if you haven't joined us yet, please come over, join this beautiful family of bloomers, and let's get on this growth journey together. Now, talking about growth, I recently learned some great lessons on personal growth from one of my dying plants, or let me say now dead plants, and I started sharing some of those lessons with you. In my previous video, I shared with you how to make room for growth, and I explained that the very first step is for you to be specific when identifying what area of your life needs growth. If you haven't watched that video, then please check it out. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below. I think you really need that first step, and then you can move on from there, making room for personal growth in your life. In today's video, we'll look at how to make room for personal growth by working from the inside out. Introspection will help you a lot in that process of identifying what specific area in your life needs growth. The growth that you so desire, that growth that you seek, has a lot to do with you than with others. When you come to that point in your life that you are tired of feeling stuck, everything within you is telling you that it's time to move on, it's time to grow, it's time to expand, then you should know that it's equally time to start looking inward. Because when you look inward, there is always a mirror that clearly shows you and shows you what areas of your life need growth and what type of growth is needed in those areas. But if you start this personal growth journey by looking outward, you will see too many mirrors, too many distractions, too many opinions, and before you know it, you will begin to copy somebody else's growth journey that has nothing to do with you in this season. You'll begin to compete with somebody else's growth speed, and even worse, you can start to blame others for the lack of growth and fulfillment in your life. And for some people, they become restless, all over the place, jack of all trades, master of none. Shiny object syndrome gets you. You want to get every shiny thing you see out there, all because you're pursuing this journey of personal growth from the outside in. Now let's get back to the story of my plants. If you remember, I told you that while I was repotting the plants, I noticed that the roots had really grown. They needed room, they needed a bigger pot, but I ignored and I put it back in the same pot. I only changed the soil. And the reason was because I had been looking for the perfect pot for this plant way before all this is happening to the plant, right? And so now that I had to repot, kind of like in a hurry, I felt like, well, I can just overlook this root issue and just give it good new soil, and that should hold the plant until I can get that perfect pot for my plant. But this did not help the plant at all. If I had given more attention to the urgency of what was needed inside and outside, I would have rushed out there, grabbed any pot and saved my plant. Give those roots some room to grow and to expand. And even if somebody passed by and was wondering why I have that ugly looking pot standing right there, I will be rejoicing because one, I have saved my plant, and number two, that ugly looking pot you see right there is temporal. When my roots have gained ground, I'm going to do away with that pot and I'll bring that perfect pot I have always longed for. When you start seeking personal growth and development from the inside out, you will confuse people with your joy and your peace, because when they look at the external and then they look at the joy that is flowing from within, the numbers don't add up. When they look at the outside, what they see is just this ugly looking pot that is lacking in so many ways, but from within it is growing this joyful, peaceful, fresh looking plant. Why? Because there is growth, essential growth, taking place in hidden places where nobody sees. Quit giving so much attention to what catches the eye, especially in a season where you have to be working in the roots. And I have nothing against what catches the eye. I've already told you about me looking for a perfect pot, right? I love nice looking things. The point I'm trying to make here is that when you bloom from the inside out, you are not only going to survive, but you are going to do what? Thrive, and you're going to flourish. Now, the reason why a lot of people shy away from pursuing personal growth and development from the inside out is because they are afraid of what that inner mirror is going to show them about themselves. They're afraid of what that inner mirror is going to reflect. and they don't want to face it. I don't want to face that anger. I don't want to face that envy, jealousy of mine. I don't want to face that gossip attitude of mine. I don't want to face my laziness, procrastination, or the baggage I've carried from childhood, or that pain and hurt from a past relationship. I just don't want to face that. So they'll rather, walk from the outside in, if at all they get in. But I'm going to conclude on this video by sharing with you 2 things that are going to really build your confidence, and you would joyfully and happily start pursuing personal growth and development from the inside out. Now, the first encouragement I'll give you is that the areas of growth are not limited to areas of weaknesses. The moment growth is mentioned, we quickly think about our weaknesses, or we quickly think about the areas in our lives that, things are not going on so well. I can't tell you how many times that I have sat down to do some self-evaluation, open up to just allow God to show me, and I'm waiting for Him to tell me the places that I blew it. And I'm surprised that He would just be opening my eyes to see my strengths, to see the deposits that He has made in my life over the years that are just lying there dormant, or maybe I've gotten comfortable with where those things are and there is room for more growth. My plants did not need room for growth because it wasn't doing well. Actually, it needed room for growth because it was doing so well. In fact, you have to go back and check my older videos and see how well this plant was doing. Those roots just needed room to get to another level. Have you stopped looking inward for areas of growth that need room just because you feel that you've arrived? You've arrived emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially. Let me tell you, living things grow and they keep growing, and so there will always be need for growth, and you have to make room for that growth. And for those who feel that growth is all about weaknesses, I want to tell you that look inward. There are some great deposits in there. God has placed deposits in everybody for purpose. Now, the final and one of the most important things I would like you to take note of, especially when you have to pursue growth and development from the inside out, is that keep in mind that sometimes the enemy sneaks in his own mirror in there. Have you been shying away from looking inward because each time you do, you see a reflection from the enemy's mirror? Now, I'm going to explain to you how you can tell the difference. Look at the case of the prodigal son. When he felt remorse for what he had done, he ran towards his father. He went back home. But look at the case of Moses. When he felt condemned, he felt judged for killing an Egyptian, he ran away from purpose. The Bible tells us that godly sorrow brings repentance, but when the enemy comes, he comes to condemn, and it brings regret, it brings shame, it makes you pull back from growth, it pull back from God. When God shows you, or when God's mirror shows you areas in your life, be it strength or weaknesses that needs growth, there is this fire, there is this hunger to draw closer to Him, to move towards life, to move towards growth, to move towards higher heights. You want to get yourself out. It's more like, hey, beautiful, first of all, that's truth. That's who you are. There's something on your cheek right there. That's the truth about the area of growth. Come over and I'm going to wipe it off for you. That's God's method. He does not leave everything into your hands and overwhelm you with it. But the devil's method is that what? He tells you that you are ugly, you are beyond repair, and it's all over. I pray that as we set out on this personal growth journey, may we do so from the inside out. And as we do from the inside out, may we see ourselves through the lens of God, because when we see ourselves through the lens of God, we are encouraged to make room for growth. And when you make room for growth, growth will happen. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next.